Hello, my name is Oliver Glunz and I'm a professor of Old Testament at Andrews University. I'm also a member of the ETCPC research group at the Free University of Amsterdam. In this video tutorial I would like to demonstrate how to improve the efficiency of building queries in SHEBANQ with the help of the Amdros query tool that you see right here. Well, as you might remember from our last tutorial, where we demonstrated the simple query building on the basis of words in SHEBANQ, we discussed the architecture of the ETCPC database first, with the object types, the features, and the values. Now, in order to find out what type of object types and features and values are available in the database, you would have to go to Help and then to the ETCPC feature documentary, and there you could browse through the different object types, features, here in blue the features, and then in red the values. For example, here the feature book, and the values that come with the feature book are the red marked book names. Now, this is kind of a difficult or complicated procedure until you find all the features that you need and all the values that are applicable. So therefore, a much easier way is to use the Amdros query tool for that purpose. The Amdros query tool is basically the engine, or it's basically a little tool that utilizes the same query language that that is built in SHEBANQ. It also utilizes the same database. So we just have to connect to the SHEBANQ database, have a well-configured configuration file, and connect to that database. How to do that, how to install the Amdros query tool, and how to download the correct database and the configuration file, I have explained in a separate video tutorial in the past. So once you have this little tool installed, it's quite easy to run queries now, and the reason for that you will see in a second. So as always, we start our query with the sentence, select all objects where, and now you see the powerful the powerful advantage of the Amdros query tool, because on the right pane you have access to all the object types that the ETCPC database contains: book, chapter, clause, and so on, verse, word. And then when you click on one of those object types, for example word, you now see a complete list of features that come with that object type. You see here, for example, the feature VS, verbal stem, VT, tense, PS, person, or NU, number. You also get access to the values that come with those features. You see here the values that are available for the feature number are not applicable, NA, or DU for dual, PL plural, SG singular, or unknown. So unknown would be what is often described in grammars as common. So with this, with us having full access to the object types as well as the features as well as the values, it's much easier to write queries. So let's write our query with searching Abraham in the book of Genesis. So we know we have to search for a book. So here we see a book. Now in order to find a book, I have to click on book, and here are the values. So this is the object type, this is the feature, and these are the values. So let's do this. Book, this is the object type, now book, this is the feature, and now the value is Genesis. Let's close the bracket. I don't close the bracket right behind Genesis because we want to search for a word that appears in the book of Genesis. So a word, so we have to go to the object type word. Here's the object type word. We want to search, as we did in the previous query, in the previous video tutorial, we want to search for the word of Abraham. So word, we know we need to use the feature lex. Here it is, lex. I'm now writing it in the Latin transcription, so not in the Hebrew transcription, therefore we choose lex and not lex UTF-8. Lex, and now you just need to know how to write in the transcription. Abraham, so it's a noun, therefore we add this sign, right, close the bracket, and now we're good. We put a vocus in here so that our Abraham is also highlighted. And let's run the query. So you see that we have now found all the cases of Abraham in the book of Genesis. If you want, you can now simply go to SHEBANQ. Let's go here to one of my test queries, test 5. Run here test 5. I can just copy paste my query that I've just built in the query tool, copy paste it here into SHEBANQ, run the query in SHEBANQ, and here I have my nicely displaced query results. Now let's go back here to the query tool and let's add chapter, because in our last video tutorial we were searching for Abraham in chapter 17 and 18 of the book of Genesis, so we have to add further restrictions here. So if you click on book, you'll see that the feature chapter is not available. The feature chapter is available here, book chapter, as well as in verse. There you have book, chapter, verse. So I really like to use the word verse here because it allows for many more features. Verse. So book is Genesis. In case I want to search for more books, let's say Genesis and Exodus, I use the operator in, and then I list the books, Genesis, Exodus. So in this particular case now, we would be searching for all the appearances of Abraham in Genesis and Exodus. So let's copy paste this into SHEBANQ. Run it here. And here we have all the cases of Abraham in both Exodus and Genesis. Now we want to further narrow down our query by using the feature chapter. So and we want to add a feature, we do that by and chapter, and we set 17 and 18. So here we go, and we didn't want the book of Exodus, so we should be fine here. Now copy paste this and let's go to SHEBANQ. Let's add our query here, run it, and we don't find any results. That is because I did a mistake here. I didn't use the word in. So, okay, good. Now we go. Now we have all the cases of Abraham in the book of Genesis, and they are only in chapter 17 and 18. So you understand that when you use the query tool, you can easily and much quicker develop queries. Let's do another one that shows you how you can utilize this pane on the right side. Let's say we're searching in the book of Genesis for a phrase, let's say for a clause. How do you abbreviate clause? Do you see it? Clause. Clause is not abbreviated, so we could just type in clause. Now you see here the different features with the different values, but we just want to search for clause, and that clause we want to have a phrase. You see here phrase, and that phrase should have the feature function with the value subject. Yeah, so we are searching for a phrase with the feature function, so let's type in function, and that function should be having the value subject. Is this how it's abbreviated? We can easily double check. Subject, yes, this is how it is abbreviated. So what we're doing now is we're searching for the word Abraham, in subject position. So and then we close our verse. So we are searching for Abraham, but Abraham needs to be in subject position. Let's focus the entire subject phrase, and that subject should appear in a clause, of course, and that clause should appear in Genesis. So let's run that query. Yes. So we move this, copy paste this into SHEBANQ. And now you see all the cases in which Abraham appears as a subject. Now let's complicate this a little bit further, and let's say we are interested not just in where Abraham appears, we are interested in the actions that Abraham performs. So in that case, we would have to add a phrase, namely a predicate phrase. You see that I'm using these two dots. These two dots basically mean that any space between the earlier block, which is the phrase block, and the next block, which is a phrase block again, with the function, we said with the function predicate, right? So let's go here to phrase, feature function, and now the value predicate. We have it here, pred. So this is how you abbreviate it. Function is pred. And since we are interested in any predicate, we don't specify the lexeme of the words that appear in the predicate phrase. So let's take the vocals out of here and let's add it here, because now we want to see the predicate phrases. So we can run the query here. So let's copy paste this into SHEBANQ. And here you go. These are the predications that are attached, that come with Abraham. You see, this is not a lot, so that might be due to the fact that we have Abraham here in a very specific order, namely first Abraham in subject position is to appear, and then the predicate phrase. So let's allow for both orders. So we're searching not just for this, we are searching for the order subject predicate, we are also searching for the order predicate first and then subject. So let's just copy paste this. So, and add our two dots, which allows us for any phrases to appear in between predicate and subject if we want it. So you see how we have built our query. We search for this clause or this clause. The only difference between the first clause and the second clause is that the phrases are in reverse order. So here first subject and then predicate, here first predicate and subject. If the query runs well, which it does, we just copy paste this into SHEBANQ, run it here, and now you see all the predications that come with Abraham. So usually you see the predication as part of a Vaiktor clause, Nafal, Amad, Lakach, and so on. Okay, to sum it up, what you see when you use the Andros query tool, you get very quick access to the object types that are available in the ETCBC database, to the features that are attached to the object types, and to the values that are attached to the features. It does not only give you access to the different values, features, and object types, it also tells you how to spell, how to write out those things. For example, you want to search for, let's say, a verb a verb, so that's word. Part of speech. Verb is a part of speech, so here we go to SB, part of speech. But you don't know how to abbreviate verb. Well, here you see you don't have to abbreviate verb. Or perhaps you want to search for a person, a first person verb. Well, first person verb, PS, person. So here you see person, you have to abbreviate with PS. If you type person, you won't find anything. PS, and then here's the value. Not number 1, but it's P1 that you have to type in, otherwise you're not going to find anything. Okay, I hope this tutorial was helpful. Thank you.